In the incising tools video, I went over generally tools that compress the clay, tools that extract the clay, tools that are made at home, to expensive tools. In this video, I will be going over a little more detail as to how these tools can be used in the Sgraffito technique. So here I have a little tile of clay, and I'm going to go ahead and run my finger across and make sure it's at the right stage. I'm not picking up any clay, so I'm good to go. Brushes. Let's talk about brushes for a minute. It is important to consider the brushes you'll use when applying slip-on gobe or underglaze onto your clay. These are my go-to brushes for low fire application. They are specifically for underglaze and glaze application. For high fire application, my go-to brushes are the Sumi and the Hake brush, specifically the 1-inch Hake and 1/2-inch or 1/4-inch Sumi brush. The Hake and Sumi brush can be used in a variety of ways. They're very versatile. And I do have a video that goes over the variety of ways they can be used. One of the important things that the fan brush and the Hake brush have in common are soft bristles. This is really important as it will absorb a lot of the slip on gobe or underglaze and apply it onto the clay, leaving a smooth surface. In the Sgraffito technique, having a smooth surface is really important. Now I will begin to apply the first coat of underglaze onto my tile, making sure that it's a smooth coat in one direction. So you'll notice that the surface has a shiny quality to it. You want to wait until the surface looks dull. Some shiny areas are especially noticeable here in this lower area. Now that the surface is no longer shiny, I will apply a second coat, and I want to make sure to apply the product in the same direction and apply the second coat evenly. I don't want to be going back and forth because if I were to do that, I would disturb the first coat, the layer underneath this second coat that I am applying. And now I'll go ahead and apply the third and final coat, going in one direction, and notice that the surface is smooth. That's due to the consistency of the underglaze that I'm using and also the brush, which is a fan brush designed specifically for underglaze and glaze application. So right now you'll see that there's some texture visible. It will start to flatten out and become an even surface. If it happens that you apply your underglaze and those lines are not going away, then you want to make sure that you check the consistency of your underglaze and also check that you are using the right type of brush for application because the brush will make a difference. My third coat of underglaze seems to be dry, so now I'm going to start the Sgraffito technique, which is basically incising through the colored surface. And just like I discussed in the incising tools video, tools can really make a lot of difference. So I'll repeat some of those tools here without going over all of them. In the incising tools video, I went over generally tools that compress the clay, tools that extract the clay, tools that are made at home, to expensive tools. One tool that I did not mention in the incising tools video is the needle tool. and that was omitted with intention. I see a lot of people using the needle tool. It would not be my go-to incising tool. However, if you do want to use this needle tool, there are some steps you can take to ensure successful results. Once again, a ball stylus, which compresses or displaces the clay, however you want to refer to that, will give you a nice line and allow for the glaze to flow in and out of the line. A loop tool, which extracts the clay, will also give you a line that allows for the glaze to flow in and out of the line. Something that is really helpful, especially if you're going to be working in different directions, is to work on a surface that you can move. This is an alternative to picking up your piece and moving it around. Most times, placing it on top of a wear board works really well. However, in this case, if I placed it on a board, my hand position might be a little awkward. So another option is to just use a piece of cardboard or paper, and this way if I start to change direction, instead of moving the piece, I can just move the paper. When drawing a straight line, I prefer to work at an angle, so I will move the piece. The first tool I will use, which I do not recommend, is the needle tool. For the same reasons I've mentioned in the past, it creates a very narrow, fine little line, but it tends to be so fine that it doesn't really create a surface for the glaze to get in and out of. And also you can end up with little clay crumbs. There are other tools that can create fine lines without issues. So again, instead of dragging my hand awkwardly, I'm going at the piece at an angle. The next tool I'll demonstrate is a loop tool. And again, a loop tool will extract the clay, and the ball stylus, which I will go ahead and demonstrate next, will displace the clay. So I'll go ahead and make a little line here, just dragging the tool slowly, and see the clay and slip gather around the tool and all lift. So what's nice about this is that it's a nice clean line. The glaze will go in and out. You'll have a contrast between the clay underneath and the slip, unlike what's happening over here. And notice how the color I have extracted has gathered on the tool. Next, I'll use another loop tool. And the line was a little inconsistent here. So what happened is there was kind of a drag. You want to be confident in the line that you're drawing. So let's try that again. Sometimes it can be the tool, but sometimes it's really the handling of the tool and timing. I'm just going to go through again, avoiding stalling, just one clean line, and that will help too. As I mentioned, there are a variety of tools, and we went over a lot of them in the incising tools video, which I'm going to once again recommend that it's viewed. There's a lot of information regarding loop tools, ball stylus tools, pricey tools, and there's also the option of making the budget-friendly bobby pin tools. So many tools to explore. So here's one more tool. This is the budget-friendly make-it-yourself bobby pin tool. A bobby pin is just taped onto the end of a brush. And there you go. So now I'm going to use the ball stylus, and remember, there's usually a small end and a wider end. But when you're gauging the line quality, remember that the line quality won't necessarily be the width of the entire diameter of the ball, it will be the width of the upper portion, unless you press more deeply into the clay. So that's why it's a good idea to have a little tile to practice before you go on to your piece, so you can get an idea of what the line quality is going to be and how deep you may want to press into the clay. Additionally, as mentioned earlier, the loop tool works really well on straight lines, angles, and geometric shapes. And the ball stylus works really well for making spirals, loops, and circular shapes. I hope you find this information and these tips helpful as you explore these surface design techniques. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments section below. Thank you.